and welcome to the SEO podcast, Unknown Secrets of Internet Marketing. My name is Chris Burris, one of the owners of EWR Digital.
And my name is Matt Bertram, the lead SEO strategist at EWR Digital.
I feel like you spend time working on your title for each podcast, and I don't have the brain power to do that.
No. I mean, if you look back at the old podcast, Chris, I used to have a prop, and I used to have a theme.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm really psyched up. But this is because of EAT. Okay.
Okay.
Like, Google needs to understand that I understand SEO.
Yes, that makes sense.
So that's
we're going to cover that today.
Yes,
we're actually going to cover. So last time we talked about like misconceptions regarding EAT. This time we're going to talk about 5 things you can do right to improve your EAT.
I'm just thinking like 2021 is the year of EAT.
Okay. All right. The year of EAT. And maybe there's and it makes that an acronym that has something to do with getting rid of COVID. That would be very nice. We need to put those two together. Bruce Neese has connected. Thank you so much for tuning in on Facebook. We appreciate that. If you guys are watching us on YouTube, do make sure you smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, and smash
Look at that. Houston Young Professional said, "What's up?
What's up? Hey, Web." Hey, I got this review, but before we get to the review, remember, Matt and I, we are broadcasting live from Houston, Texas, and we are your result rebel.
All right, we have to rework that for EAT. Like if we're
yeah,
we gotta probably we're your SEO experts. Maybe.
We are your SEO experts. It works. I like it. You gotta keep adapting. Here's a review, and this is from the handle is Mamasaurus Life, and it starts off. The title of the review is "Thank You." I run a parenting blog and discovered your podcast during lockdown. I've now binged all of your 2008 to current episodes. And even when the topic isn't something relevant to my website, I still take away a new skill or tip every single episode. I've already implemented dozens of your strategies and am seeing results with SEO and search results. Thank you for producing such an amazing content. Keep up the good work. Patif to Mamasaurus Life. That actually warms my heart. Like, that's why we do this podcast, to give back to those entrepreneurs, those SEOers out there who have contributed so much to, not them specifically, but it's the circle of life thing, right? We've gotten so much value from other people in the industry and them putting out content. So we just want to put out good content that helps return the favor. So,
well, I think we're demystifying what SEO is, right? And I think that it's been a black box for a long time. And really, I think there's a lot of small business owners, medium-sized business owners out there, even large companies that are paying for it, and they don't really know what they're getting, and they don't know how to measure it. And I think that that's something that can be addressed and can be easily improve, right? And provide more visibility, because, really we've seen, if we do these things happen, right? It's like cause and effect. And so good SEO is understanding what Google wants. You can control that. I didn't know that you could control it. I thought I was the only one that could control it. How did you do that? I need to turn those controls off. I thought I was.
Hey, maybe we can be the SEO demystifier.
Ooh, I like it. I like it.
I don't know. Hey, let's talk a little bit about our backgrounds here. I think yours is incredibly lovely. It's 2 awards that EWR Digital has won, and that was in 2020, right?
That was last year, yeah.
Yeah. So we were awarded those in 2020. They're AMA awards, American Marketing Association, and behind me is Amazon bestsellers, because you're already an Amazon bestseller, but now you're a 2-time Amazon bestseller, and I'm also an Amazon bestseller because of putting out great content and really about marketing and really about EAT, ironically.
Well, it's crazy. It's like SEO and personal branding. Boom. There it happens. And we're going to talk about it in this article.
Yeah, absolutely. So we covered the review. We've mentioned the article. We've talked about the awards and the Amazon bestseller. So you ready to hop into the article?
Yeah,
Because I think we
let's
got
get
a
into
short
the meat and
time.
potatoes. Yeah.
5 things you can do right now to improve your Google Eat rating. This is by, we're going to call him Manish D, because his last name is really long.
He's in the description. I put him in the description.
He is also in the description. He's a VIP contributor to Search Engine Journal. So patif to you, Manish, for this great article. Again, 5 things you can do right now to improve your eat. So one of the things is the key here is about creating good content and authoritative content. The key to creating better, more relevant content can be found by reading Google's Quality Raters guidelines. Matt, brief rundown. What's a Google Quality Rater?
Well, so you can actually apply to be a quality rater. It pays $15 an hour.
Wow.
There's like a certification for it. I actually have read it, but sort of. So I read it, but I read it on my iPad, and I went to accessibility and it read it to me. Like, so I was reading it. And
the audiobook version.
Yeah, so it was a little dry. Like, it was a little dry. I'm gonna be honest, it was a little dry. And so I was like, man, stop doing that. But like, basically I was reading it. I was following along as my iPad read it to me.
Right.
And it was like 175 pages. And a lot of it's like basic, like good SEO, but it really breaks down some good examples of like what good content is, what medium content is, what low content is. I think I want to do another podcast, or even maybe like a downloadable that's like, here are the top 20 things that you need to look for. It's, and we've talked about this before. It's kind of like authorship has come back on steroids, right? Yeah. And so there's a lot of things associated with that. I think we're going to address some of them in this article. But yeah, the quality rater guidelines are basically what all the algorithms are kind of put into a format that a human, website rater, they're calling them raters, is looking for, right? So it's kind of like the manual check of what the algorithms are doing. And it gives you a little bit of a roadmap of what the algorithms might be looking for.
So, very cool. Hey, we got Patrick Lopez hitting us up on Facebook. John Despew. I'm going to go with that. Despew. Happy New Year's, boys. Same to you. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Patif to both of you. So Google's quality rater guidelines are used by humans to assign quality scores to search results for specific queries. Those scores don't directly impact search results. I think Matt covered this. This is the abbreviated version. But they are used in developing or honing the algorithm and tweaking it. So the first of the 5 things you can do right now: include author names and biographies for all editorial content. In particular, make sure YMYL, remember, your money or your life articles, those pages must be created by trusted, authoritative experts on the topic at hand. The guidelines state specifically, explicitly, the reputation and EAT. By the way, remember the EAT is, what is EAT? It's your
expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness.
So your EAT, the reputation and EAT of the creators of the main content is extremely important when a website has different authors or content creators on different pages. So you got to note for that particular page, what is the EAT of that particular author. If the author's information isn't available or it's difficult to find, this could hurt the EAT score for that page. So if you've got this page and the content's out there and you're in a relatively competitive industry, like you're paying a penalty. Penalty is a bad word. You're paying a price for not having that authorship guideline.
Well, so we're coming out at EWR. Some specific guidelines that our internal team's going to follow to target some of this stuff. And we're making some changes for clients as we're kind of rolling them out this next month, because we had to kind of build out what those processes were, how we're going to target that, how we're going to audit it. But really, authorship and bios, really, really important. There's things that you can do off page, like your Gravatar. Like if you don't have a Gravatar, WordPress Gravatar, you should create one. But you're trying to get in the knowledge graph, right? So that's one of the focuses. So there's some trustworthiness behind the company and then behind the individuals on the content. Also, if there's more than one author on a blog, there needs to be multiple profiles. And also that whoever's writing that article, if it's about, say, finance, or if it's about supplements, or anything like that, they need to have some kind of credible background online that can be found. And so that's becoming a lot more important, as well as the trustworthiness of the website. Okay. And like, what is this company, right? Like, what are they doing? So there's a lot of these kind of things that I think are really quite important from just an overall, business standpoint, credibility standpoint online, right? And so Google wants to make sure that they have good results. So those are a couple of actionable steps that I would encourage people to implement. And we are implementing that and rolling that out and auditing that for a lot of our clients. And then, we're working on kind of incorporating that into the website audits we're doing with our website auditors. Yeah.
Right. So what this means is that having a positive personal brand is absolutely vital if you want the quality score for your page to trump others in your niche. And Matt, what's one way that you could, become an expert in a particular subject matter?
Well, probably the easiest thing you can do is read this book here that lines it all out. It's real nice on Amazon. Or the book right behind you is kind of a supplement extension right there of how other people have done it. Oh, other way. Yeah. And, really what's interesting is this is something that I've seen on the horizon for a while, and, already kind of started to go in that direction, started to do things there. And now I'm starting to get requests on, basically like straight up almost PR, right? Like online PR of how do I build my reputation? And, I've already built a roadmap of how to do that. And we're working on some kind of like courses, but even some consulting. I had someone coming to me last week that there's 2 people that I think want us to do like brand management. And that's something probably out of the EWR media brand. I don't know, but there's a lot of need for that. And there's a lot of demand for that. And even Google is saying that. So this was something over 3 years ago that, I was kind of seeing, and it's kind of this merge between SEO and personal branding. So I don't know.
All right. The points here are take charge of your personal brand by fleshing out your social media profiles and interacting with influencers and your audience, developing thought leadership through placement and trusted platforms, telling your story to connect with your audience, and we're just going to throw in there, become an Amazon bestseller.
There you go. I like it. Now, some of the platforms that you can write on, right, are Medium, Alignable, or Alignable. There's certain platforms that Google indexes and that Google's looking for trustworthiness. Yeah. So even if you're not like published on, say, Search Engine Journal or something like that, you can still be creating authorship by putting stuff out there. Blogger, there's different things that Google owns Blogger, right? So there's things that you can be putting out content on and developing yourself as an expert. Also, like if you're doing stuff like, I don't know, like, something in boating, right? You don't have to have like a certification in whatever, but if you own a boat and you take a picture of you on a boat and you talk about you like understand how to clean a boat, and if that's what your article's about, like you're building legitimate trustworthiness in that area, right? By doing that. So it's just having some real, well, I know we're talking about personal branding, but I feel like expertise is you're displaying that through your personal brand, right? That you're expert or you're authority in that area. So
yeah, absolutely. And kind of that point is again, it goes to the industry, right? Do you need to be some sort of expert as a boat cleaner, right? And how do you create that? Because you don't do that by getting a certification. But if you're writing good content and people are directed towards that content, and you're the author of all this content that people are pointing at, then you will become the authority in that boat cleaning. All right, number 3, again, 5 things you can do right now to improve your Google Eats score. cut or edit low EAT content, right? So low EAT content on one page, let me see, low EAT content on one page doesn't directly impact the EAT of other pages, but it can negatively impact your site's overall reputation. That's switched. For this reason, pages with low EAT and minimal traffic should be removed in the vast majority of cases. Again, it's entirely dependent on how competitive that industry is, right? If you're, again, talking about boat cleaning, then, it's probably going to be pretty low traffic anyway. And establishing that authority, you could do with a pretty simple ebook. The best course of action under the circumstances where you have content that you do want to utilize is to rework the page in order to boost the EAT score. If it's a YMYL, your money or your life page, you will need to bring an expert author on board, or you will need to become an expert in that industry. Again, we're going to kind of go back and read Matt's book, go out and generate content and become an Amazon bestseller. Those are ways that you can create authority.
Yeah, no, I think a good example is maybe, someone that's talking about home remedies, right? So if someone's looking on Google for home remedies, and maybe there's somebody that's a doctor, that's talking about home remedies versus just somebody that, is discussing home remedies, like that person that's discussing home remedies, what other things have they done online? Like, that they can point to show that expertise and trustworthiness in that area. Because if not, if someone's got an MD and then that can be tied to, a web 2.0 platform or some, school like certification, that person's going to win every time based on the EAT score, right? Because Google doesn't want to show things that are untrue. And how do they find out if they're untrue or it's good quality content? They're doing things to try to figure it out. Like I can even tell you, and I could totally be wrong. It's just kind of how I've seen the algorithm work is there's probably like thresholds. Okay. Like, again, I'm totally guessing here. It's just kind of what I've seen. And like when we're even talking about like on-page score, right? Like maybe a video is worth 5 points, right? We do this with like lead scoring with email. So I'm assuming like it's very similar. I need to go back, and you can actually go back to the, actually the, what is it called? Where they get what's the word? Where they own the like rights to how they do it. Like you have a couple of
like syndication, or are you talking?
No. It's called, it's like
property rights, copyright.
Well, yeah, like they own the patent. They own the patent on how to, right? They own the patent on how to like process the information. So you can actually go read the patent on how these algorithms are working, right? Like that's a lot of kind of what I do is I kind of read some of that stuff, and then I test it and I see how it responds to that, and I kind of pick up that information. But I think that there's kind of like thresholds. So like if a video is worth 5 and like, infographics worth 3 and high quality content, each section of say 500 words, or I'm just making this up, right, is worth 1, you're trying to probably get to like a score of 7. You know what I mean? And you can get there multiple ways. Now, if you layer on EAT, and again, these are totally guesses here, but you can layer that in there, and that can get a certain threshold, and then certain stuff will click on. So things that used to work are maybe not working as effectively before because you haven't hit maybe a certain EAT threshold score, right? And a lot of what they're talking about in the Raiders guidelines is really just like good on-page SEO on top of that, right? And so again, I don't think a lot of stuff has really changed, but there's certain indicators that you have to hit, I believe, before, other things kick in. Does that make sense? Like, and again, that is somewhat of what I've seen in my interpretation. And I'd probably want to go get some more data and flesh that out a little bit more before really presenting that as, like my fact or theory, but this is just kind of, conjecture.
All right. So pages, just to wrap this up, pages on your site that don't address YMYL topics can still be considered EAT, right? Yeah. So to have that,
you should be doing it on everything. I think it's going to be expanded.
Yeah.
Like they're just rolling it out in a certain area and they're testing it. And like also like a pro tip I would say too is if you're at like schema.org and you're like working off a schema because schema is starting to be really big, anything that schema's putting in there, like schema.org is putting in there, like Google funds schema.org. So they're just like they haven't rolled it out yet, but they're like testing it. Does that make sense? Like, so you can kind of use that as an indicator of what's going on. And there's really schema is becoming quite important. So like if you're talking about even like your personal brand, you want to, there's a schema called same as, I think it's same as, and you want to link all those together, right? So it's showing that your authorship is this entity of this person, right? And so, and even like, you know, how your website, your website as an entity needs to link together with the page and then the content you're talking about. Like there's all these things that have to like connect, if that makes sense. Sorry, I'm getting in the weeds. Keep going, Chris. Sorry.
That's all right. So just know that Google's quality rater guidelines say carefully, for some topics, the most expert sources of information are ordinary people sharing their life expertise on personal blogs, forums, reviews, and discussions. So just know like that goes to that competitiveness and really kind of what is it a your money or your life situation?
Yeah. Yeah.
Number 4, invest in technical security. So we know like HTTPS, you've got to use that SSL. You've got to be on a secure connection. One of the big reasons is if you're not on a secure connection and you're using Chrome, one of the most used browsers on the planet, then it will just say like you're about to go to a dangerous place. And most people in general, like even if they understand the risks, don't want to go to that dangerous place. So
they tell the raters to not even go, right? Yeah. So it's not even rated. And actually going back to what I said before, I think it's actually organization, website, and then web page is kind of linked together if I think through that. But yeah, no, well, keep going, Chris. Sorry.
Yeah. And so verifiable badges and certifications can help you get the highest quality score from those raters. Did you have something else before we get on to number 5?
You know, like technical security, if your site gets hacked, you're going to get knocked down, right? There's a lot of things that go into it, but I mean, you know, like your site being hacked or your information being secure or redirecting to a non-secure page, like everything should be secure. It's not a nice to have anymore. Like you need to make sure everything's secure. I mean, that's one of the things we look for in the audits. You know, how many pages are HTTP and how many pages are HTTPS, right? And you want to try to put everybody under that flagship of security, especially if, you know, you're doing shopping carts or you're collecting personal information. Like you got to secure that information for a good user experience and safety and everything associated with that. So.
Absolutely. Be safe. Number 5, moderate user-generated content. Just know this, that user-generated content won't necessarily mean a low EAT score. Again, though, it matters about the topic, right? Again, YMYL pages featuring should be heavily moderated, right? And or edited without warning and links to reputable sources. So if somebody's on Your Money or Your Life, and they gave the example of somebody talking about respiratory disease and other people were answering questions, like you need to moderate that and make sure that you're bringing in a powerful source to provide information post, right? And of course, it's a medical website. So the first part of that post is we're not giving medical advice. You should seek a physician. And this is what is typically the case at that time.
Yeah. Freddie George was asking, what's a good WordPress plugin for security? So we were using WordFence for a long time. It was one of the top security plugins out there. And then they did an update and it opened up the door for people coming in quite a bit. Do you remember what we're using right now, Chris?
Yeah, one of them that we're using is Security Shield. But
Security Shield. Yeah,
I've been working with a consultant really specifically on security, and he's got another plugin. The other thing is use Cloudflare. So we're actually, all of our clients we're moving, if they're not there already, we're moving to Cloudflare.
Well, that's on the technical support plan. So if we're your webmaster, what we're doing, so everybody understands in simplistic form, we push everybody to Cloudflare, which is a mirror, and then it pushes them, from their name domain to where we host it. And a lot of people that are kind of drive by trying to hack sites, it's just like they're reaching for dust, right? That's yeah. So.
They get blocked by the cloud.
Yes.
The flare of Cloudflare. Yeah. So that's a good strategy. And then, it's actually something I was going to bring up to our kind of technical team about if you're using Cloudflare, that really is going to protect you in a vast majority.
Like 90 something percent, 80% some of the time, from a lot of the just random hacks. Also on WordPress, because Freddie said he gets notified all the time. You got to make sure that people can't go in on your WordPress and just create themselves as a user. Like a user, because they can, that's one of the ways that they can kind of hack, is they can create themselves as a user, and based on the authorization, they could create themselves as an admin, and so you gotta be pretty careful on that when you're setting up these WordPress sites. But to go to user generated content, Chris, in the Raiders guidelines, they do talk about if you have a site or a forum, okay. And really, it's best practice. We recommend everybody just turn off those comments, because a lot of the comments, SEOs, that are kind of spammy, will just leave a comment because if it's getting indexed, it generates a link back to themselves. So they're not high quality. And then other people are just trolling. And so if you're not actively managing that forum, we recommend just turning it off. But a lot of, there's examples, I guess there's not a lot, but there's examples of sites that really got hit hard because they weren't moderating what was going on. So unless you're actively moderating what's going on, you might want to consider turning it off. That's kind of what we believe is a best practice for our clients. Now, user generated content, I'm getting stuff pushed out on Facebook and press releases, and, the PR that we did for the book, Chris, positively impacted what we're doing from an SEO standpoint. So, user generated content could be a lot of different things, but I think user generated content is really kind of the holy grail. If brands can get companies or people to post pictures of them, with the product, or run some kind of contest where users are generating the content for them. Think about Facebook, think about, all the different social media platforms. They're not providing any content. They're not even curating the content. They're just, they are now, right? But they're not supposed to be, but they're just a platform to get the content out there. Now, imagine having this huge news vehicle that you don't create any of the content, right? It's pretty impressive. So, but that's the holy grail, I think. So,
and Google does like that kind of platform where there's lots of content and it's being generated by your users.
Yeah.
Well, excellent. That wraps up this article. Patif to Manish. That was a really good article, kind of continuing the theme of eat. And so that's really good. This wraps up. This will be the last podcast for the year. You actually may be listening to this for the first time in the new year, or you're connected on Facebook like Fred is right now. Everybody out there, we hope that you have a wonderful new year. We hope that the new year is better than this last year. This has been disastrously bizarre. We'll leave it at that kind of year, and we're excited to be moving on past it and into 2021. Matt, anything to kind of wrap up?
Well, I think hopefully everybody landed pretty nicely on the end of the year. I know it was pretty tumultuous going through it. If you bought a bunch of Bitcoins, you're really happy. So
Bitcoin and Tesla stock.
Yeah. So, there's things to be thankful for. Okay. Yeah. There's things to be thankful for. And a lot of it's about mindset. A lot of it's about perspective. A lot of it's, about being able to adapt. Okay. I think that there's a lot of really positive lessons that were learned or taught this year, and really how you could kind of roll with the punches it determined kind of your trajectory, right? And so I think that this year there was a lot of good lessons and good, learnings and testings that happened. I think even as a company, we had to adapt in some ways, but I think it ultimately made us stronger, and it made us wiser. And we're set up really well, and we're set up really well for our clients to go into 2021. So,
in fact, if our clients or maybe prospective clients want to reach out to us, get a free website analysis. This is something that you can get on our website. You go to ewrdigital.com, you click the free analysis, right? Isn't that the button? It's the free website analysis button.
Well, it's not a button right now. It's kind of a link, but
in the menu, in the menu structure.
It's in the menu structure, but the buttons. Yeah. So we're moving stuff around. We're testing stuff from a convertibility standpoint. This is like when you rebrand, there's just a lot of things you have to focus on, but
just know when you get that free website analysis, you are going to be on the phone with one of our SEO demystifiers, an SEO expert that's been in-house, has years of experience, and the reviews, the positive reviews we get from those website analysis is just makes, I know Matt and I
we're launching pro testimonial. We haven't officially, we're going to launch it next year, but that's one thing we're going to use in-house internally to get, the phone video reviews on the phone, from people that we can put on there, because we have got a ton of positive responses from that sort of thing. And we want to do a better job, displaying that. And so there's a lot of new fun things that we've been working on since COVID that we're right around the corner from launching. So I'm very, very excited about next year. And look, the reviews are good. They're I think the website analysis, I think the consultations, we've gotten really positive reviews. We actually had to add a paid option to go even more in depth for people, because we were just getting a lot of positive responses, and some people are like, they need more strategy, right? And then maybe they're going to do the execution, or maybe they need a little more strategy, and they want to understand everything a little bit more before they pull the trigger on something. And so it's a good midway point to kind of date a little bit before.
Sometimes they just want some perspective. What they don't know.
Yeah.
Right. That's the thing. You're doing a little bit of internet marketing. You're doing, messing around, listening to podcasts, doing a little SEO. And what is it else that you don't know that could be implemented and could, drastically change your business? Well, that's what tends to come out of those calls.
So what's interesting, and I mean, this is not meant to be a pitch by any means, but on bestseopodcast.com, we added a WooCommerce basket, and we've added some products on there. And, a lot of people go to that site, and find it through SEO and that sort of thing. And someone bought we did a video website analysis, right? So it's because we got a lot of demand right now, and we can only handle so much. And so we said, hey, $99, right? We'll analyze your website. We'll send you the video. And that actually turned into a follow-up of hey, I need some additional resources. Hey, what else can I do? Oh, I need some one-on-one coaching. It was really interesting, but it's you don't know what you don't know. And if someone can kind of give you kind of the buoys or perspective of what the guiding star is and what you need to be looking for, then now you go, okay, I'm going in the right direction. And then what are some other things I need to drill down on? And so that's actually been something recent to this year that we've added, because there's a lot of people getting into SEO, trying to do it themselves. And they just, hey, what am I doing? Can you give me some perspective on what I'm doing? How well is it? And we ask for those lists of questions up front, and I've gotten some good feedback from that. So, but I mean, that there's just a lot of different things out there, right? I think when you're thinking about marketing, in my opinion, SEO is the absolute core. I mean, that's what personal branding online, personal PR online, that's SEO. That's their search engine optimization for individual. And then people use SEO for videos, right? So then there's YouTube SEO, and then there's LinkedIn SEO, and there's Facebook SEO. Like all these things are like how the algorithm works and how to get more visibility to do that, no matter what you're doing. And I think it's incredibly important. I think it's a foundational skill set that I think anybody in business today should have, or, you know, be working with someone that does, right? So,
yep. Hey, you can do us a small favor.
Oh,
yeah, a small favor. We don't get paid to do this podcast. We get paid in reviews. So if you could just go to ewrdigital.com/review, a little pop-up will come up there. You could click that 5-star button and write us a review. We would really appreciate that. And also share the podcast with 3 to 5 people.
Just share it in a group you're in. Share it in a group you're in. That would be cool.
And if you have to, join the group and then share it.
That's a little too much work there, Chris. Yeah.
You guys have made us one of the most popular internet marketing podcasts, the most popular SEO podcast in the known universe. We appreciate all of you guys. Until 2021, my name is Chris Burris.
My name is Matt Bertram.
Bye-bye for now.